Hello, my lovelies. I am joined today by the beautiful Tania Moraes, who is the most beautiful woman. And not only does she help, I would say, really God given people the way forward in their messaging and in their branding, but she is the most beautiful soul and beautiful mother to two gorgeous sons. Tanya, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Juliette. I'm really excited to be here.
It is so beautiful. We met through a mastermind, and then I just loved your energy. I loved the way that the care that you put into tweaking and having people just look at the way that their words or their branding might land. Take me through how you got here. What is your story?
Oh, wow. Now, that's a loaded question. To give you a Cliff Notes version, I have written, I have created for as long as I can remember. It is deeply innate to me. It is a way that I used to express myself, to cope with life happening growing up. And I'd like, anytime you look at pictures of me in my childhood, like there's pictures of me doodling in a notebook or playing the keyboard or the guitar, like when they had those things, or playing with my mom's camera, like she had this film camera. So I would be fascinated with it. And I always looked at art as a way to almost freeze time for where it was. Happy moments were so far and few in between. Whenever there was anything happy happening, I wanted to write about it. I wanted to freeze that moment. I wanted to capture it. And then I learned even when there's painful stuff happening, you can still create something out of it. So I would write. Writing became the main outlet for me. And then the artistry and the drawings and things like that, music, singing, like all of this was woven together. So I spent my childhood and the rest of my formative years basically like public speaking, performing on stages, singing, talent show competitions, you name it, but it was just all expression. So there's that side of me. And then I
Yeah,
went to school
that's
for
right.
I went to school for English language and creative writing, and I graduated from it. And we get the quintessential question of, oh, now what are you going to do with your life? Are you just going to teach? What are you going to do? And like at one point, I thought I was going to end up going to law school because I was like, I'm just doing all pre-law courses, including the English and including criminology and all these things, studying human behavior and how people think and how they speak and the meaning behind their words and the emotion behind it and how, like, literally what makes a person tick. I am very fascinated by it. Language has fascinated me for as long as I can remember. And it's not just in actual words, in artistry, even in music, when you're listening to a soundtrack, even the littlest drum beat and the way and the timing and the tempo, like every single thing, there has to be deliberate precision with it. And so my
Mhm.
ears go into that level of snobbery, if you could want to call it that, when I'm sitting there and listening to sound, listening to reels, creating these movies, bringing anything to life, because my mind sees everything like a movie. And so if
Beautiful.
you could go back and tell your story, how would you tell it? How would you create it?
Look at this. You are just like the rector behind someone's life. It sounds to me like I don't know if you still do this, but how you help people is, okay, I'm going to be the director, pull out all these beautiful threads. I'm going to attune to your frequency and plug in the right music, plug in the right visuals. If you haven't seen the movie that Tanya did for me, oh my God. It's all about taking a stand of sexual abuse, sexual trauma. And when I got it, I cried and I cried. I was so touched. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that you got all of this.
I know. When you asked me to create it, I'm sitting there and I'm like, there's all this footage that I'm sifting through, but it's really, I don't even look at footage. At some point, the feeling takes over. And I'm like, how do I want to feel when I'm watching it? How do I want every woman to feel, or even man to feel? Because abuse it's not gender conscious or culture conscious. It happens everywhere across the globe. So I'm like, how can I represent this in society where we are now today with everything happening collectively? And I want this to be shown across the globe. And so I was going after a feeling. And then I started to think, what kind of emotions would I feel? And I've experienced some forms of it. And so it's again going and it's when you're a creative, I know you're a creative too, like you almost have to go into your trauma chest, if you will.
Yep.
Like I call it a treasure chest. Most people call it trauma, but I'm like, no, my trauma is my treasure chest because I go back into it and I need to put myself in that state so I can start
Mhm.
feeling it. Of course, not sitting there, but feel it for what I need and what I need to alchemize from it for a client or for myself or whatever. So I'm so glad that you loved it.
Little deep alchemist you are. You're just weaving the most beautiful pieces together. And it really almost feels like a weaving of consciousness of all the different pieces that come together. It's almost if you see the grid, and a lot of us can see energy as a golden grid. I just see you as like the spider weaving its web and putting everywhere where there's a little hole, you just bring it to wholeness.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. Oh, don't know how we went there, but this is what we do. So we're actually just going to take a moment because that felt really precious and really quite holy, quite spiritual. And I know that you've taken a whole turn to turning back to God and this is your message. What is it that you want to tell women and men?
Yeah. I don't think you can have art without God in it. I
Mhm.
don't think you can have business without God in it. I don't think you can have life without God in it. Like whatever your faith might be, like, but there is a higher power, a higher level of whatever you want to call it. To me, it's God. And to me, that's Christ and the Holy Spirit. And I'm so open about it. And still, thank you, God. Like I tend to attract people from all walks of life that have nothing in common with my beliefs. And that is totally okay. And I think, and this is Holy Week, and I genuinely believe that this is what he was here to teach us. Sit with multiple perspectives and polarities. Know who you are, and your faith doesn't waver and your consciousness doesn't waver, but you can sit and hold multiple perspectives. They don't have to be yours, but you damn well get to respect them.
Completely, right? I
Yeah.
think especially these days, what's happening in the world, it's just so important to have that groundedness and to have that breath and to have that like that powerful presence because isn't this what we're all looking for? Like, beautiful presence.
Absolutely. And I think we're living in a time where everyone wants to just cancel everyone out if it doesn't agree with them. I know you and I have talked at length about this in our work together, and no, that's actually creative immaturity.
You should have heard the messages I get on my voicemail these days. This whole week I've been talking trauma and BDSM and where some
Yeah.
people say that BDSM is a trauma response. And I've had probably 5 different kind of psychologists and therapists in my inbox telling me how dangerous it is that I'm talking about this, that it's actually a trauma release for the people that I've worked with. And I go and I look at their pages and they're like, yes, and I've worked with this. They're all mentors. I'm doing this from a very embodied,
Mm.
stable point of view. And it's just, is it actually me and my message that you're having trouble with?
Yeah.
Or is it what it is lighting up in you or what it's showing you about yourself?
The medium doesn't matter if it's something that's going to help you expand out of your cocoon, and if it's going to help heal you in one way or another, and it's done in like utmost safety and integrity, which I know that you are that. Sometimes that embodiment can trigger people.
Oh, yeah.
Not sometimes, but like you're a walking trigger. Like we're walking triggers to people. The more you are out there with your voice and the more unshakable you are in your faith, in your voice, in your convictions, because you know who you are, you know who you're here to serve, you know what your message is about and the mission that you're here for, that's going to actually ruffle a lot of feathers. And I like, you're okay with it. I'm okay with it. But society still has to catch up to that.
And it's interesting. And I'm not sure if it's a female thing only or if it's just like people that have a message and have a passion and their frequency, their energy is just so big that they are magnetizing, polarizing
Mhm.
as well, right?
Well,
Magnetism.
yeah, because the magnets don't come together. Like they go the opposite way, even though they're very magnetic in their pull. And I think to bring it back to you and your work, and even in terms of messaging, like the more you take a stand for something with unshakable like conviction, the more you're going to polarize people. And that's a good thing. You don't want to sound like everyone else. I am so bored right now looking at everything on so I'm really like, I don't think I'm checked out and I'm not like jaded about it, but I'm bored. I'm like, it's done. That era is done. The era of put a Facebook post out, put an Instagram post out, send 10,001 emails. No. Sure, there's a method to that madness, but it's so noisy. And so then you got to zoom out and ask yourself, what is your true expression? And how can you create from that? And put the metrics aside, put the formulas aside, put it all aside. You've tried it. You wore that for like how many ever years that you did. So that's the journey that I've been on. Like these last 8-9 months, I've been on it. And now it's like really accelerated where I'm like, I can't stand it. And so as a
I love
result, even my business model just shifted. I was like, I don't want to have those conversations anymore. I don't want to tell you 20 hooks to convert something. Convert? Really? Convert? Ugh, that gives me the
and
ick.
isn't it all about connection? People that are
Yeah.
gonna love your stuff. I've just created this really like low, not very expensive, £111 touch toolkit, and it's got
I love it.
that that boot kit actually. So it's
I love that.
the reboot kit. So it's to reboot your touch, and it's all about like how can we even start talking to our husbands or our partners about this? Are we even getting the touch that we like?
Yeah.
And when I put it together, I was like, whoa, this will just be an easy thing.
Yep.
I've had people up because there's so much information in it. And it's like, this will be a hook. And I'm like, I don't really want a hook. I say it's a smorgasbord. A
Yeah.
smorgasbord, little like tastes.
Yeah.
You can have a little taste of it, or you can nibble at it, or you can go completely wild. It's like, it's up to you how deep you want to dive, how small you want to do things. And it's about building capacity. But it's also the beauty is like you people, and you're like, how do they buy? How do you buy yourself if you see someone online? Like with you, the moment that you put an offer out, I was like, okay, I got it.
I wasn't even expecting that. I was literally in my mode of, I think I was 8 months pregnant at that time. And I'm like, you know
I
what?
know.
Here's what I have capacity for. Here's how I would actually love to deeply connect with not the whole wide world, but like with the few aligned people. Here's how I would like to journey with them. And I know what we can create when we're in that one-on-one space together. And then if you want to deepen it, sure, like we can customize and curate something. But here's a taste of this. And I saw that come up. I'm like, wait. And I messaged you too. I'm like, I think you made a mistake. I think you just bought. No, I meant to buy that. I'm like, oh, okay.
And that's the
I
beauty of
hadn't
like,
even talked about it yet. I think it was like a slide from like the previous day or whatever. And I woke up from my nap and I saw that you bought. And I'm like, oh, cool. She connected with my message. That's awesome.
but it's the beauty, right? Where people just, yeah, we can nibble, we can look, we can take our time.
Yeah.
Everything's well, it doesn't have to be one way. And this is what I keep telling people, my masterminds, like, it doesn't have to be one way, please. No, don't think that the only way is through funnels or the only way is through that. But if you'd asked me a year ago,
I know, and that's the beauty of weaving artistry and faith and everything into it, because then at one point you just come into this place of total surrender. And I think it's huge, even with the work that you do. You have to go into total surrender. And that's not just sexually in relationships, that's in business partnership, that's in your own relationship with self, with God. Like it's obedience, like surrender and obedience and evolution. They're all like 9-letter words, and that's not a coincidence.
Love it. Gosh, I hadn't even thought about the 9-letter words. What
Like
does
I'm a
the
word nerd, and I'm like, I was writing the other day and I'm like, oh, hang on, evolution, surrender. I'm like, whoa, wait, these are exactly 9 letters. And obedience. And I'm like, that's not coincidence. Because you're going to evolve. The more you surrender, you're going to evolve. The more you obey, you're going to evolve. You're going to leave things behind, people behind, ways of being, whatever, expressing everything.
Yeah. And I remember when I first started working with you, I had no idea how to express myself. Since then, I have created my cards. They're incredible, by the way. My 5 book of cards. I have written
Love-
poems in one day, but I got it published in 1 month.
Wow.
And it's just like it's kind of like incubation time.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Oh my God, that makes me so happy because I remember we were talking about it. And then, of
Yeah.
course, you have to initiate people and then leave them in their own incubation stage, and then they'll do what they see fit. I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I'm so excited. Those cards are awesome because I think you have 3 sets or 3 different versions, right?
5.
Okay, cool.
Of course, the biggest one is sex, family, beliefs and emotions, and life.
I
And
love that. And then people can get them as a whole set or like individuals. That's awesome.
yeah, I split them out because I just thought it's just easier if you go, say, to a networking event and you just take life with you, or
Yeah.
you go to a you take beliefs and emotions with your family. And I've been playing them with my kids and with my family when I went to Holland for my late sister's 60th anniversary, 60th birthday. She would have been 60. And I just used a few of the prompts and everyone was just so taken aback. Is this what you do? I'm like, but it wasn't.
I love that. I love that so much because one of the people avoid the deep question. Every time you
Mhm.
go to a gathering, whether it's work related or family or whatever, everyone's always talking about, I literally call it the boring 5. My life sucks. My job sucks. This is happening globally. This is happening here. Like it's that classic toolkit that and I feel like people carry that with a badge of honor. Can't remember what it was. I think it was like a lifetime life mark. There we go. I was like, what's the name of that? Life mark conferences, I believe. Anyway, it was a training thing I'd attended a long time ago. It was a conference and
And
yeah, landmark. There we go. I'm like, it's something with L. It's
proud.
landmark. I remember attending that. And one of the trainers in there, she explained life in this way to us. She was like, people, you either do life in this way, where you have a basket or like a baggage of all your problems, all your woes with the world. My life sucks. I'm associated with whatever job you're working. I'm a banker, I'm in finance, or I do whatever. And everything just sucks. And then you carry it with you. And every time you go to a party, it's like you're carrying these baskets of like heavy ass baggage proudly because you've associated yourself with them. But she's like, there's another type of person, and this is the evolved version of who you want to be. Who would you be if you didn't identify with those baskets? Who would you be if you just stripped away
His
the
identity.
complaining and if you stripped away that habitual thing? There was a period of time over these last 9 months where like I found myself saying every single day, I'm exhausted. I'm freaking tired. I was like literally, let's face it, newborn baby, postpartum, didn't take mat, still working, still gunning for it. Yes, in a very real world, I am tired. But then I started to see how I was feeling and I'm like, hang on, no, I am healthy. I am alive. I am whole. I am provided for. I get to do the work that I love from home. This wasn't even a reality when I had my first kid. It had started, but it wasn't the way it is right now. And I snapped myself out of it.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, because who are you if you don't identify with your problems? And I think we're too used to identifying with the problems. We're too used to identifying with the lack. We're too used to identifying with everything that's happening externally right now instead of looking at it and we're aware. I'm aware of the state of the world right now. I'm aware of the economic stuff going on right now. And I also have evidence that 5 years ago, exactly during a certain whatever thing going on during COVID, really, is when my business blew up because you lean all the way in. You don't fold in these times. You lean all the way in. You keep going.
And
So,
isn't it beautiful, the remembering that we are not the identities that we so desperately cling on to, because it's easier to fail than to just step into the unknown, right?
yeah. Yeah.
I think it all boils down to that. We're all teaching exactly the same. All of us,
We
whatever.
are just in different ways. Just in different ways. Like, for me, it's like, I love seeing who a woman becomes, like, in front of the lens and like pulling her artistry out. If I'm there and like I'm interviewing you or like I'm there creative directing your media, whatever appearance, it's hold on. I need to ground you and I need to be able to pull out your gold so that you don't get lost amidst all the lights and the cameramen and the whoever the anchor is of whatever show. It's no, I'm there for you as your company's like conductor, orchestrator, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, like it's a safe space to land. And I feel like that's what you give to people with the work that you do. That's what I give to people in the creative artistry of what I do and what my company does. And like, this is the time for those missions to come forward.
I love it. 3 things that you would say to the woman who's online trying to get her business online or in person, right? Doesn't matter, but an entrepreneur, she's there, she's passionate about herself, and she's just not getting any further. What are the 3 things for you that are the needle movers, Scott?
For me, number one, spend time in silence
Mm.
daily. It doesn't have to be you by yourself. It could be, but literally quiet the noise because the moment you start looking at what anyone is doing on social media, it's easy for this to start psyching itself out, your mind. It's easy to let the stories of the past hold you there. And if you had no evidence of doing it different or someone that's gone ahead and you're the first one, if you're going to go online, then look for evidence of it. But otherwise, drown out the noise. That's number one. Huge.
I love it.
Number two, don't be afraid of breaking the ice. My dad used to always say this growing up, and it's something that has stayed out of everything. He used to always say, if you're gonna be okay with breaking the ice because it is cold, it is harsh, it is uncomfortable. Nobody wants to get out there. I'm thinking like ice climbing, and that was his description. It's like, if you're unafraid of doing that, you will thrive anywhere in any climate. So simply put, don't be afraid of rolling up your sleeves and putting in that work.
Getting in there, right?
Get in there, put in the work, put in the reps. And your reps don't have to look like daily reps. Sometimes they could be 5 days out of a 7-day week reps, but you're doing them 5 days consistently. And that's great. The point is, don't be afraid to break the ice. Don't be afraid to connect with people, right? To go together. And the last bit of it is business is personal. It is. I don't care what anyone tells me. You can't not have business and personal intertwined together. Yes, there are boundaries. There are certain ways and decorum and whatever etiquettes of being. At the end of the day, though, business is personal. So when you're doing that, lead with transparency. It has never steered me wrong, ever. People have told me you bare your heart too much. Some people tell me you don't share enough. And I'm like, whatever. You'll never keep everyone happy. Lead with transparency. That'll never steer you wrong. nurture your relationships, because everything is relationships. Everything. You wouldn't be, I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for the relationships in my personal life. For example, like in the home space with my husband or my mother-in-law, or people just supporting me in different ways. I wouldn't be where I am without my mentors or my clients or other people like are paying it forward. So those are the top three things, because when you do those every day, you're moving the needle forward.
So true. Get out of your noggin and actually just roll up your sleeves, do some kind of action every day, right? And I completely believe with you, it's all about relationships. It's all about connections. And it's all about connecting from the heart, right?
Yeah.
You can't go wrong. I mean,
No, you
go
can't,
ahead.
when you connect from the heart, it is felt. You
Mhm.
can't, no level of pretty branding and videos and none of that flashy stuff, truthfully, like none of that can mask a lack of integrity.
A lack of integrity, a lack of authenticity. And I would also say a lack of where people actually haven't embodied the art of building people. And I've been a trainer of trainer, and I've really tested a lot of people and gave them little tweaks, how to be a better coach, how to be a better thing. So lately I was coached by someone who's done about, I don't know, she's just finished her coaching degree and is holding quite a big list. And you can just see that she actually doesn't quite know. So at times I'm like, I come from my identity of the trainer.
Yeah.
And I just saw last week where I got so fucking hung up on this. And I'm like looking at him like, "Joe, there's something there for you. Yes, she didn't do it perfectly. Yes, she gaslit people. And yes, people have actually come out of her
Mm.
course because of this. And where are you like taking the higher thing?" And I was like, oh, it's my identity because I have coached so many people. So can I just break through all of that? And it was like,
Yeah.
oh, she's coming from the heart. And yes, she might need a little tweaks, but yeah, she's really trying her best here.
100%. I've had feedback. Like I've had feedback from clients, from I've given feedback to team, I've had feedback from team, and sometimes it might not in the moment be the easiest thing to hear, but I always tell myself, can you just sit with it? Just sit with it and breathe through it and sit with it a little longer and then
Yeah.
look at it objectively and then feel it and just honor it, and then you can go back and respond and connect, but go from the heart and connect transparently, right? And
Never
that's when it
connect from
feels
the trigger.
exactly. And that's hard to do. If you told me to do that when I was 17 or 18, that was not happening. I used to have such a bad temper. And some days I still let it get the best of me, but I'm proud of how far I've evolved and come as a result.
Beautiful. Tanya, tell me how everything will be in the show notes. Whoever's listening, how can people work with you? How can they find out more about your agency, about you? Are you doing things alone or is it through the company?
We're doing a mix of both. So we actually went back to our original roots. I had been feeling that pull for a long time. We went back to original roots, and what that means in a very tangible fashion is we have a core offer, which is our content artistry offer, because I've realized we don't even repurpose content in the way that repurposing typically is meant. We
Mhm.
actually take it and we make it completely something brand new. Like it's called the Elixseer edit, as I've lovingly named it. Like your repurposing hasn't seen an Elixseer edit yet. So if you
Yeah.
have old master classes, old podcasts, whatever, there's so many ways to beautify it with art and then
Mm.
strategically layer that into your marketing so that it's cohesive, consistent. And then this frees up your time and space as an entrepreneur, as a thought leader to do what you do best, which is go and change and spread your mission and then let us, a full service team, take care of the rest. And what we're doing differently with it is we're offering in-person content days, content artistry
Nice.
days. Think of it as a retreat for your brand and business. We can either do them quarterly or semi-annually, whatever that looks like for you. But yeah, we come, we film, or we fly you to us. And we film everything for you and photograph you. There's a hair and makeup artist involved. You'll have some body treatment so that you're feeling relaxed before your day. And then we do the curation of it. And then you have
Nice.
content. And then we rinse and repeat that, but different ways. So that's one offer. And then there's me one-on-one as your creative director. As a fractional creative director, you get my hands and eyes and ears in your brand, in your business to move your everything forward. And there's various ways to customize that. And those are the two things that I'm leaning hard into right now because that's where I'm being pulled.
Isn't it beautiful, right? How we can just pivot, and these are the things that are pulling you, your mother, if you've got a little one and a little bit bigger one, and your wife. So it's like you want to be able to express yourself and be of your family as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had to really think about it because, and this is from a creative standpoint, if it feels there's resistance and then there's why do you feel stuck? Because I don't think we're ever stuck. You went through this last year too. We're stuck because we're not giving ourselves permission to do the thing that we actually want to do. And I was like, I don't want to spend my days behind a laptop endlessly. I don't. And so I've reclaimed the writing for myself because I realized after doing it for so many years, I started as a photographer and I've always been a writer. And then COVID happened. And then, with the online space, you get put into a box in a way. And I started writing for all these big brands and big like personalities. And it's great. And I'm so blessed to have that gift to be able to do that. And then it got to a point where I was like, God, I can't hear your voice. God, I can't hear your voice, which means I can't hear my voice. What do I even
Mhm.
sound like? And then when you go to write, you're like, when you write with that marketing jingle, I don't know if you've ever felt that, but it's a real thing. And I was like, ooh, I'm like, I don't want to write that way. I just want to write like me, the poetry and the art and just share. And so I was like, okay, we're going to reclaim this and we're going to bring the other stuff that's really lighting us up out to the forefront. And it was hard. It was hard to set down great for extraordinary because great was bringing in everything. Great was stable.
Yeah, I've gone through a whole rebranding. I had this beautiful touch base, the reclamation, an 8-week program, and this and that. And then yesterday it just came through loud and clear as no, you had started it as a 9-month thing. You have people, you're incubating people, and you're actually going to be teaching about conscious BDSM,
Mm.
conscious kink. And I was like, oh man, I was trying to get away with it from it, but it's just what's showing up. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And it just made
So,
sense because I hadn't sold it. I hadn't felt the pull to actually, to go live with the program. It all made sense. Like one program, put all your eggs in one basket. And I was like, and now today it dropped. I've rewritten the sales pitch. It's ready to go.
I love that. I love that.
It
Yeah.
told me a few months ago. I was like, not telling you, how do I do any of this?
You know what? I don't think any copy, for anyone listening, any copy that has been written in the past, I don't think it's ever a waste. I think you can take it and create so many different pieces from it and put it into quote squares and put it in different things that'll still move the needle forward. And you can, of course, tweak it to where you are right now because the essence is still the same. It's just you got to switch up some of the words.
And it's really beautiful what you say is you come back to it. I wrote my book of poems on the 31st of December. It took me about a
Wow.
month to tweak it and to have it published. And then it was only recently when no one showed up on my mastermind. I'm like, okay, well, let's read it. So I recorded some of it. And it actually gave me so much. And then what's coming through now is the weight. So that's what
Ooh,
I
love
tell
that.
people. And then I look through my book of poems, and there's a whole chapter on touch and awakening and actually how touch lands. I was like, oh, I already had it on the 31st of December. I
Mhm.
just listened to it. And we're now,
Yeah.
what is mid-April?
Yep. We have to surrender. We have to surrender to the pull of where the art's calling us and where God calls us, quite frankly, because when you don't surrender, that's when you feel stuck and that's when you stagnate. and everything dries up and you're like, why is it not working? But it is if you just listened to me 5 months ago.
Completely. Beautiful place to stop, surrender, listen, and actually just quiet all the noise around you. Come back to touch base to your connection with yourself, with God, your higher power.
Totally.
Tania, it's been beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Please share this with anyone that you feel will get touched by this. And all Tania's details are in the show notes. Much love.